Welcome to In the Loop, the Charlotte Area Chambers podcast, where we talk about everything Charlotte with area business and community leaders. Here are your hosts, Chamber Chief Operating Officer Michael Orzak and CEO of Chase Media, Diane Chase.
Hi, Ken. Welcome to In the Loop. I'm Michael Orzak along with my co-host Diane Chase. And welcome, Diane.
Thank you, Michael. It's wonderful to be with you again, and especially with our special guest today, Ken Reda. He is the head of the Profit Advisory Group, and such an interesting business. Ken, welcome.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and Michael today.
Absolutely. So, in a nutshell, let's just start off with what is Profit Advisory Group all about?
Well, we are a full-service telecommunications consulting firm located in Matthews, North Carolina. We have been in existence since about 2004. So, coming up on 18 years. We service clients all over the United States, as well as actually all over the world over the last 18 plus years. Our three primary focuses of business is in procurement, helping our clients procure services that they may need in the IT and telecom space. Audit, which is we review their invoicing and their contracts for expense reductions, which has really been our primary focus over the last 18 years. And then we also do guidance, which is just traditional consulting work where people would hire us for our expertise, and we give them advice. But those are the three areas that we work in. And like I said, our biggest focus has been in the audit space over the last 18 plus years. We've been an award-winning company, which we're proud of. We were on the Charlotte Fast 50 before the pandemic. And then we've also been on the Inc. 5000 several times and been one of the top rated companies here in our space in the Southeast for a long time. One of the things that we're super proud of is that if you look at the type of companies that we deal with, a lot of Fortune 500 companies, a lot of Fortune 100 companies, but we also deal with small companies. So we're kind of all over the map, but we've dealt with some of the largest retailers, some of the largest big names that you all know. We also do a lot of work in the healthcare space.
That's all very interesting. So where are you seeing the biggest changes and challenges, if you will, in terms of companies looking at their telecom? What are some of the biggest mistakes that maybe you're seeing clients make in terms of paying too much for something that isn't a good fit, for instance?
Well, the interesting thing is that in 2022, and actually started in 2019, 2020, we're kind of at like one of those inflection points in the world of telecom where the carriers, the AT&Ts and Verizons and so forth of the world, they're trying to move off of old technology and put people into the newer technology because old technology is very expensive for the vendors to maintain. Then the end users or the businesses that we deal with, they're stuck in a situation where the old technology works. The new technology sometimes is expensive. Sometimes it just takes a whole entire dynamic switch of how they operate and do business. And one of the things that we're seeing is it's kind of like, the worst of both worlds, right? The carriers now are charging clients ridiculous amounts for older technologies. I'll give you a quick example. Everybody in the old days had what the carriers referred to as a POTS line. It's called plain old telephone service, the one that used to hang on the wall in your living room, just a plain old telephone line. It's connected by copper wires. And those lines at a lot of clients have been charging $28 to about $35. We now see that same phone line. I just saw it the other day on one of my clients' invoices, $710 a month.
No way.
And that's
for an old school. Is that literally what it stands for? A POTS line?
Plain old
Are you making that up? Plain old televisions?
Plain old telephone service. The thing is that in 2018, very quietly, the carriers, petitioned the FCC to allow them to de-tariff. Tariffs were put in place to protect the end users or the businesses on price gouging and so forth. And quietly in 2018, they petitioned the government, and the government allowed them to slowly start to de-tariff these products, which meant they could charge whatever they wanted for them. So that's where we're seeing these wild fluctuations. So, the situation for the business is, all right, how do I get off of this? Because I can't pay. I mean, last month I paid $35. Now I'm paying $700, and that's not a uncommon situation. The other thing is, there are clients that we have that they'll get a letter in the mail that says you'll need to shut these services off in the next 60 days, or we're going to shut them off anyway. So you have to get off of that service. And these types of services today, we think of the funny part about the phone line on the wall, when you pick up the phone. A lot of these are for burglar alarms, fire alarms, 911, elevators, escalators, all those things that many businesses, whether it's a retail establishment or even just a regular manufacturer, they have these old lines in place because they work.
They work, and they're
more secure.
Way more secure, way more dependable. They're not going to go down like, some sort of a cloud service. And
correct. That's
just, not to get off on a tangent, but why isn't there any oversight on this? This is like highway robbery.
Well, it's the fact that these big telecom corporations have a lot of influence over in petitioning the federal government to gain a better advantage. Everybody laughed back in the early 1990s and actually late 1990s when AT&T and all these companies let all these other providers now provide long distance service. They just opened the floodgates. You could buy whatever you wanted, the competition, and they were just being smart, because then when after they got everybody doing this, they petitioned the FCC, and then all of a sudden you'll see that a lot of those companies are no longer in existence because they were just squeezed out. What AT&T and Verizon and the bigger companies wanted was to look, we're letting everybody in and competing, but the reality was that they had an end game, and the end game was where we are today. There is less competition out there for traditional services. So, but now on the positive side, you have lots of these smaller companies that are out there offering cloud-based solutions that are available today. And to give you an example, one of the services that's out there that replaces a telephone line, it's called a POTS in a box. Basically, it's an internet connection or a wireless connection that does everything that plain old telephone line did for about $11 a month. So, and let me tell you, AT&T, Verizon, all the big companies all offer these types of services, but there are the pioneers that started doing this in about 3 or 4 years ago, and they offer those services. So it is out there. And one of the challenges for many of our clients is, all right, how do I get from plan A to plan B and do it without disrupting services, without jeopardizing my 911 and all those other things, and without spending a fortune doing so, because I don't have the staff, I don't have the expertise to go out and vet all these things. And that's where sometimes using a third party can help you navigate through those waters. But I mean, that's really where we are today. We're at in this part of it, we're at an inflection point of getting off old technology onto new technology in a seamless manner. And many clients are out there doing it. Some of our hospital clients are slow to adopt because, they're not out there taking the arrows, trying new technology. They're tried and true. They got to make sure everything works perfect, but it's getting there. And that's real exciting. And at the same time, there's all these new technologies that offer more service, more reliability, better customer experience, better in the healthcare space, better patient experience. And what the clients are trying to figure out is, how can I afford all these great new technologies, remote workers, telemedicine, all these different things, and keeping within my budget, right? And that's where having some additional eyes helps the client, additional expertise to make sure they navigate it, because sometimes getting rid of the older technology, maybe doing some optimizing, get rid of some bad billing, can help fund that next generation moving into some more advanced features. And that's really what's exciting for many of our clients, as well as just people in general. I mean, think about it. When you're at home now, you have internet that's faster than probably what 99% of the businesses and hospitals and all sorts of things had out in the using cutting edge technology 10 years ago. And at home now, or your iPhone or your cell phone has more computing technology now than a whole room full of computers did, just 10 years ago. So that's exciting, but it's expensive, and it's kind of scary for customers or businesses to have to jump into that field. Mm-hmm. And so we're really seeing a lot of that. How do I pay for that? How do I get there? And that's one of the things that is troubling to a lot of CFOs and CIOs, is how do I make that happen?
Mm-hmm. Well, is it necessarily throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Isn't there a hybrid solution where you can keep some of that hardwired technology, non-technology, I suppose, while you're incorporating the higher tech? Can they both live happily together?
Well, they can until the carriers stop providing the service, right? And that's kind of like where we are. You can still go out and put your toe in the water, or have it set up a nice transition and keep some of the old and some of the new. And that's what a lot of clients are doing today. And they get more comfortable with the new, and then they can get rid of the old. The key is not getting taken advantage of on the old from a price perspective, making sure that you're not getting a $30 line turning into a $900 line.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable.
Well,
I think about having a hardwired phone. I'm like, that would provide a lot of comfort for me, because the battery's not going to die. A storm isn't going to take down, the wireless service and all that kind of stuff. So obviously, companies are looking for the buck. They're not making as much money off of the old tech, obviously.
Well,
right?
yeah, and I see it as like a supply and demand issue, and also a maintenance of copper lines throughout the city, just so you can pick up that phone. And if you have limited users and you have to maintain this network of lines, somebody's got to pay for that, right?
Exactly.
Anything else you'd like to add, Ken?
I just like to say, to the especially to the smaller businesses, or even some of the mid-sized businesses, don't be afraid of technology. Don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. And by all means, look to a path to create. Okay, I'm here today. If I want to be like a high tech company in the next 3 years, let me figure out how I'm going to get there and do it strategically, and it can happen. I mean, it's not complicated. I know CFOs, and I know I talked to a lot of them, and they're like, as soon as they start talking acronyms, I get nervous. So, because that's what telecom does. Everything's got an acronym. But if you don't understand what the acronym is, ask them what it means. And that's something that a lot of CFOs now are getting more and more comfortable, or business owners are getting more and more comfortable to say, don't give me the IT speak. What does this mean to me in reality? And one of the things that we do is we help try to level the playing field. And, we like to tell our clients we're a resource for you. So by all means, look for companies that might be able to help you. But even your vendors can help you. They're there. They're people. They're going to help you if they can. So, like I said, ask questions, and don't be afraid of technology. It definitely, there's a lot of it out there that can make your life a lot easier.
Well, you are singing my song when you're talking about, jargon, acronyms, all of that gobbledygook, if you will, which is fine if you're talking to, a colleague in your space. But outside of that, it creates misunderstanding, confusion, and leads to nothing but headaches. So clarity is a beautiful thing. It rolls.
Amen.
All right. Thank you again, Ken.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity. And you guys have a great rest of the day.
And thank you, Ken. Appreciate all the great advice.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on In the Loop. the Charlotte Area Chamber Weekly Business and Community Podcast with your hosts, Michael Orszak and Diane Chase. If you'd like to be a sponsor, please contact us through our website, charlotteareachamber.com. Join us again next week for the latest scoop in the loop.